welcome to What's the Wave, the Content Lab series. This is a show where we invite artists to sit down with me for an interview all about their musical projects, their endeavors, and their experience in the music industry. Afterwards, we'll sit in for a live acoustic set right here at Alpha Wave Studios. Our guest today is GEO. GEO, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
GEO, I'm really excited to be sitting down with you today. As mentioned in our last interview with Mia, this is our first time doing something like this here at the studio. It's special for us to get a chance to do this and particularly sit down with you because I've watched you perform at Alpha Wave Studios open mic a number of times. Dave and I, the owner of Alpha Wave Studios, we've talked quite a bit about how much we admire not only your soulful voice, but the kind of music that you're bringing to the stage because you're doing something really interesting and something that I've never seen, incorporating your Spanish guitar into the music that you play here. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your background, playing guitar, your background as a vocalist, and how that kind of transitioned into some of the music that you're playing.
Okay, well, my background, which I'm 54 years old, so it goes back a very long time, trying to remember what I can. I was a pretty typical rock musician like a lot of people. So, the electric guitar, the acoustic guitar tended to be used in very common ways. As I was starting to perform locally, as I got older, I guess I was looking for some way to cut my own niche and give myself a unique sound. And I had studied some classical guitar in my background. Never, because it was classical guitar, didn't really have any ideas on how to use that until I started to study flamenco guitar, which now, what's the difference is that flamenco guitar is, now you just said you're Portuguese, as she shared with me off camera. Yeah. So what I discovered was the flamenco method, very fiery, very passionate, lots of room to like we were talking about vocally, how with R&B music, there's more room to kind of be open as a vocalist and do things spontaneously. With the flamenco guitar, I noticed a lot of similarities there. And so I was able to take the foundation of what I learned as a classical guitarist and put, the finger style and even the kind of scales and stuff that you learn there, but then put it into this very gypsy method. And that means it's a method that's not taught in like universities or schools. So it's a street method. You have to get it from other people that play. The background basically is I went from sort of typical to finding just something unique that I could bring. So even when I sing the common pop songs that I'm going to sing anyway, if I do it with the Spanish guitar and I do it with the flamenco method, it gives it a whole new flavor. And that's what I was after.
And I completely felt that. You were a featured act at our Alpha Wave Studios open mic a couple of months back. And I really felt like that gave your music an entirely new life. It was apparent in our audience's kind of reaction to the music. So was there like a mentor for you, like learning that style? Like specifically, how did that style kind of enter your life and how did you kind of learn to fuse that with your music?
It started by listening to somebody by the name of Jesse Cook, who is a Canadian artist who has been playing in the flamenco and rumba style for a long time. Now, if you listen to his records, they're mostly instrumental. It's mostly his composition, and I love the sound of it. The other thing, too, is that I listened to tons of Sting, and after Sting left the Police when he was doing his solo material, he was using American and South American jazz musicians to play his pop music. So you see the similarity is that they were still going to play Sting's music, but with that kind of instrumentation, it gave it, unique sound. And so I said, oh, this is a pop artist that's implementing this Spanish guitar into his music. So it kind of started there and just continued. I just kept using it. I did have to study, so I found, when I went to go see this guy, Jesse Cook, live, his second guitar player was a young guy who's just about 28, 29 years old, and it turned out that he was a very talented flamenco guitarist. And he was just a backup guitar player, and once in a while he would get a solo, and my God, would he show you that he could do. So when I learned that guy gives private lessons over Zoom, I said that, well, that's all I got. So I've been studying with Matt for about 2 years now.
Nice.
And it's completely changed the way that I approach the instrument. So that's kind of how it all happened.
I find that just so admirable because it kind of goes to show that our music and the ways that we label ourselves as artists is kind of ever evolving and changing, and opening yourself up to learn more for us to gain a deeper appreciation of our music. I think the best, most gratifying way to be an artist for myself personally, as we were talking about off camera, is just taking our interests, kind of by the reins and performing music that actually means something to us and is passionate. Off camera, you and I were kind of talking about some of your musical endeavors and the music that you're passionate about. So I would love to hear a little bit about the project that you're starting to initiate and where you see that going.
So what I'm going to be doing today is, for the first time, I'm going to be bringing out the very, very first works of, I'm trying to do a show where I can talk about a character who wanders throughout the country, and he bumps into people and he hears their story. And so when I'm doing the show, when I'm performing it, I want the songs that I perform to be those person's stories. So I might introduce this character that I might have met in a bar somewhere, and maybe I start to get some of his life out of him. He starts talking after a few drinks, and then the song that I could do could be whatever his story is. So I thought that if I could continue down that route, what I'd like to do is develop it into having multiple musicians with me on stage that could double as characters. If we wanted to act out certain skits. Also, everything is very visual. I would love to have videos. I work with another band right now. I don't mean to divulge into that, but I do work with another great Pink Floyd tribute band called Heroes for Ghosts, and I only mention them. It's not a shameless plug. I mention it because that band is also very visual, where we have videos running all the time. I would like to do something similar where either videos or even still shots that help accentuate what's going on in this story. So I would like to develop that, and that's kind of what's in the works right now.
That's so interesting, and I especially love talking to artists who are storytellers as well. I've always felt that the two kind of go hand in hand, but I think it's really cool that you're bringing that to a completely different level on stage. Talk to me a little bit about performance today. Obviously, I'm very excited to see it, but I'd love to know how someone who kind of thinks in that same track as me, like telling a story, how do you prepare for a performance? What kind of goes through your mind before sitting down and intentionally performing?
I guess I'm really obsessed with me not making a really bad mistake. Like forgetting the words.
Me too.
That's a common thing. Usually when I'm performing live, I have the iPad there. It's going to have lyrics, but it might even have some notes about what I have to do with my equipment. If there's if I'm switching from one song to another, if there's a few things that I have to do, like whatever it takes to get through the performance, I'm trying to make the performance look good from out there. So when you ask like what kind of preparation I do, it's mostly technical and nerdy stuff, and sometimes practicing the transition between songs if there's things that you have to do. So that's kind of what I spend a lot of time on. As far as the musical performance, I will say that it is important to take some time if there's something that you didn't do quite as well in the previous performance, something you know about yourself. It's really important to pinpoint that little point of the music and practice that. And I say that as a music teacher, that sometimes the tendency is to just keep running the whole song and hoping that you'll get better at the part that you need to improve on, instead of just really laser focusing on just those two measures, like back to back and playing that. But it's the way to get better and to prepare. So that also might be in the work sometimes if I'm preparing for a performance, is that one stinking chord that I do, I mess it up every time.
That's a really good approach though, especially like I've been a vocal student like my entire life, and that's absolutely the right approach. Though I like to hear artists talk about the quote unquote the nerdy side of things, just because that is the reality of it. And definitely for myself as an artist, I have to take preparation like that. Otherwise, I can be on stage and I'm like, ooh, pretty light. And I'm like, oh, whoa.
I was supposed to say that out loud.
To ask if I certainly find you to be very inspiring, and
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I was excited for our audience to kind of hear different stories, engage different artists, but I think there's something really special about what you bring to the table, and I know our audience is going to connect with that. So I'm hoping that you could maybe share a little advice to anybody who is working on a couple of different projects, or maybe they have a couple of different things that inspire them as an artist, and maybe share some words of wisdom to them.
Yeah. I mean, I could say over the many decades of my life that I could say things that I learned was it's very easy to get off the rails of whatever your vision is for you. And it's even harder if you don't have a clear vision of what you are.
Right.
So I think there has to be time before you're pushing to really be the performer out there, when you're looking to book gigs and you're looking to record. It seems like first you have to really have a clear vision of what you do. And so it's got to be narrowed, because I will say from experience that to say that I do everything. I can do it all.
Yeah.
You think that that's a benefit, but a lot of times what it happens to be is, oh, so you're not really that great at anything.
Yes.
You know, and so now you have to, either you have to prove that you are great at something, or you have to accept the fact that, oh, I spent too much time diversifying. And I spent my whole life studying different instruments and also studying different styles, and maybe too many of them at the same time. So what I would say, what I've learned, and it's helped me, it's benefited me, is to get a little bit more laser focused about what is your music supposed to sound like? What are you supposed to look like? What is the, what is the stage presence? All those things. Get a better idea of it before you package that and try to present it to the people. Because, why is that important? Is because you're always going to have people influencing you in a different way.
Yeah.
And even the best intentioned people, your family and everything, there's always going to be somebody that feels like you'll do better if you do something a little differently. And you have to know what you can change and what you can't. You know, what are your core values? So that's challenge. You're like, that is not changing.
Yeah.
What is outside the core values? So you can go, I can compromise on that if it means helping get something done or whatever. So
that's right.
That's kind of what comes to my mind.
That advice hits close to home. I was saying, our audience. I think Jacqueline needed to hear that particularly. So I really appreciate that. But I couldn't agree more. I think if you have your core values at hand, not letting that foundation kind of be shaken by outside sources, but being open as well to allowing your journey to change and commit. Because as you said, like, you've been doing this for a long time, and I'm someone who sees myself doing this for a long time. We have tons of people who follow us of all different ages, who are in different places in their journey, but we get that question all the time. GEO, I want to thank you for sitting down with us here on What's the Wave. We're going to get you set up for your acoustic set, but you want to let the people know where to find you on social media.
Yeah, certainly. Social media, Instagram is actually where I found Alpha Wave Studios, and I started coming to the open mic night. So definitely check out Alpha Wave on Instagram. So my website is georgeorlandomusic.com. Jacqueline's been calling me GEO the whole time. GEO is just G-O, George Orlando. A lot of my buddies just started going, hey, GEO, get over here. And it also kind of was just a clean, shorter way to market myself, the artist GEO. So, but my name is George Orlando. GeorgeOrlandomusic.com. I think there's links on there to my others because they're not as easy, whatever the spelling is. But that's the key place, GeorgeOrlandomusic.com.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sitting down.
Thank you.
We are going to get this guy ready to do his live acoustic set here at Alpha Wave Studios.
Gabriel is a character that plays Spanish guitar, just like me, and he likes to roam the country a little bit, meeting people. And this one time, Gabriel went into a cantina about 20 miles outside of El Paso and found a bunch of locals gathered around a table with a middle-aged man playing Spanish guitar and telling stories that were good enough where you didn't care if they were true or not. And here was one of them. This is the story of 7 brothers. We have the same father, but different mothers. We keep together like a family should, roaming the country for the common good. It came to pass one fateful day, we found ourselves down Mexico way. The town, the mayor, the PTA, pleading on their knees for us all to stay. We only stopped for a few burritos. They told us of the trouble with Los Banditos. Poor little town in need of aid. The brothers and me have never been afraid. The age of chivalry is not dead. Lonesome nights in a cowboy bed. There'd be a bride for every man who chased away the evil gang. For love is stronger than justice. Love is thicker than blood. Love, love, love is stronger than justice. Love is a big fat river in flood. Yeah. Nine, 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 yeah. The outcome was predictable. Our banditos were despicable. Of blood we lost a dozen liters, a small price to pay for las senoritas. The mayor was happy but his face was glum. The maidens numbered only one. There weren't 7 brides for 7 brothers. I knew I had to get rid of the others. For love is stronger than justice. Love is thicker than blood. Love
than justice. Love is a big fat river and flood. Lie, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Lie, 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 yeah. Mother told me I was the clever one, the seventh son of the seventh son. It all ended so happily. I settled down with my family. I look forward to a better day. The ethical stuff never got in my way. I know there used to be brothers 7. The other 6 are singing in heaven. For love is stronger than justice. Love is thicker than blood. Love, love, love is stronger than justice. Love is a big fat river and flood. I said love is a big fat river and flood. Yeah. Nine, 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 nine. Yeah. That's the 7 brothers.